Welcome. Today we are going to look into different pricing strategies that are being adopted by companies in marketing. So before going into pricing strategies, we'll first look into the factors that influence every pricing decision that is made by companies. First and foremost, it is the marketing objectives. Before a company goes in for pricing strategy, which pricing strategy they are going to use, they have to determine their own company's marketing objectives, what they want to achieve as a company for that particular product that they are going to sell. And the first one will be survival. The first strategy is going to be survival strategy. In survival strategy, the company themselves or the product that they are selling is going to be at a fag end or facing heavy competition in the market. And for this, they will be coming with a minimal pricing strategy. They will go for minimal pricing strategy where they go only for the price plus variable cost plus fixed cost. What are the variable costs and fixed costs that they will be undergoing for that particular price. The next one is maximizing current profit. The products that are good, the products that are selling in excellent form, or the products that are unique in nature tend to have this kind of pricing strategy where they try to maximize. The marketing objective of the firm is to not gain market share or not survival, but to maximize their profit. And the third one is to maximize current revenue. Okay. And the next strategy is penetration or maximizing sales growth. When you are introducing a product into a new market where you will be facing heavy competition or already established well players, a perfect example for that would be your Jio mobile connections, where they started with minimal pricing. When normal 1 GB of internet, mobile internet was costing 250 rupees, they brought 30 GB or 60 GB for 100 rupees or 200 rupees. So this is not profitable for them, but they want to capture more market share. So for this particular strategy, they use penetration strategy. The next one is market skimming. The marketing object would be to skim the market. They will not want to penetrate the market, or they will not want for a wider range of products. They want to have maximum profit, and they would want to just skim the top layer. They want to price the products at a premium, whereby which they try to skim, like how you take the top layer of a milk. You skim that particular market. You don't want to penetrate into the market. You don't want to go into that particular market. The next one is product quality. You want to have your product at a higher quality. You know that your product is of a higher quality. So when you know that your product is of a higher quality, you often tend to price your products higher, and you want your products to be placed higher in the minds of the consumer also. Examples would be iPhones. Even though the manufacturing cost of an iPhone would be less, it is priced above and beyond the competition in the market. So it has a premium feeling to it because of the quality that it has, the quality of the photos that it takes, or some kind of a premium that it offers. And the next one would be determining demand. What is the demand in that particular market for that particular product? That determines the price of that particular product. When there is no demand, there is no point in having a higher price. But when there is enough demand and you are not able to meet the demand, then you go for a higher pricing strategy. Otherwise, when there is no demand, you go for a lower pricing strategy or a discounted pricing strategy. And the cost. Often we see prices of products being changed, and the common cost given for that is input cost or variable cost that is there, that increases. Even every year, now and then, car prices would be increased, saying that the input cost of steel and other products are higher. So the manufacturing cost of that particular product is also higher. So these variable costs tends to determining your pricing strategy. You might tend to not change and absorb the cost, or you might want to transfer the cost to the consumer. And finally, observing competitors' cost. What in that price range with your product for the same quality of product, what is the price offered by a competitor? When you are going to offer the same product for a higher price, there won't be any takers. There has to be some product differentiation for you to have the price advantage. When there is no price advantage, or when there is no product differentiation for that particular product, that means you would have to go by the cost that is determined by the industry. Example, a perfect example would be your mobile phone rates, recharge rates. It often tends to be the same, or the pricing of Coke and Pepsi, they often tend to be the same because they don't offer much of a difference. So when there is no much of a difference in your product, then you will have to go for similar pricing. But if there is a difference and you can offer for a bigger cost advantage, then you go for a higher pricing. And the pricing strategy or the pricing method that you are going to use, whether it is going to be a markup pricing, a simple markup pricing. A simple strategy would be to use markup pricing where you use 20% profit. I want 10% profit. So whatever the profit markup is, you determine, you take in all the cost that is there of manufacturing that particular product, add the markup price and go in for the pricing. The next one would be target pricing. What rate of return on investment that you require? I invested so much in that particular product, in this particular company, in this particular brand. So I would like to have this much return on my investment. So based on the return on investment, you determine the price of that particular product. The next one is perceived value. What buyer perception is, what are the products consumer worth, what in the mind of a consumer, what is the value of that particular product. For example, let's say a ballpoint pen. Commonly all ballpoint pens are offered at 10 rupee value. So when you offer the same price, it is a perceived value. It means 10 rupees means 10 rupees. So you cannot offer more than that, unless and until there is something more to offer in that particular ballpoint pen. So what the consumer sets the price. It is value, this will be the value of the product, and based upon that he determines the price of that particular product. The next one is value philosophy, more for less. So in general, all consumer wants more. The less you pay, they want more. And this also applies to pricing strategy also. When consumer wants more out of what he receives, then your pricing would be based on that. You will be offering at a minimum level. Your marketing cost, all your cost will be at a minimum level, and you will be offering that particular product at a cheaper rate. And that is how Big Bazaar and other companies tend to project their products. They offer at a value pricing. So value of that particular, you can get more for your money. The next step is going rate pricing. As we have seen earlier, it is similar to where what is this price set by others. If Coke sells for 14 rupees per bottle, Pepsi also sells 14 rupees per bottle. So going rate pricing. The next one is seal bid pricing, where companies often tend to bid for the price and seal, like taking the tender for a toll or building a road or so on. So they give a bid, and based upon the bid, whoever offers the price, get best price, they tend to make the fix the pricing rate. And while selecting the final price of the product, the consumer, the marketer also has to determine the psychological value, brand value that it has. For example, you might want to sell. Certain people tend to think that cheaper products, the product that your manufacturing cost might be low. So you might be tempted to sell that particular product at a lower rate. For example, perfumes. Perfumes, if your manufacturing might be low, you might think that I can sell it for 10 rupees. But in the mind of the consumer, a 10 rupee perfume would not be good. But at the same time, a 500 rupee perfume or a 1000 rupee perfume would be even better. But the manufacturing cost for you is going to be minimal only. But Just because your manufacturing cost is minimal, you cannot determine the price of that particular product. Lower cost always doesn't mean higher sales. And what is the brand equity and what are the advertising modes that you are going to use? Television advertising is going to cost you money. Newspaper advertising is going to cost you money. So you cannot just say that my product is this, so I fix the price like this. So for an example would be for your Pepsi and Coke again, where the manufacturing cost is very low, but due to the higher advertising and distribution costs, they charge it at a higher rate. And in the same way, before setting the final price, the price has to be acceptable to the distributors and retailers. Because they are the ones who are going to do the marketing for you. They are the brand ambassadors for you. They are the ones who are going to sell the products for you. So if they don't agree upon the price in which that you are going to sell your product, they will not ultimately sell the product, and you will not be able to sell that particular product in the market. So before arriving at the final price, you also have to consider the mindset of the distributor and your sales force. Now going into the main topic, pricing strategies. So the first one would be penetration pricing. Penetration pricing, as it is self-explanatory, it is where you want to penetrate that particular market. So you use a strategy where you price your products extremely low, beyond or even below the manufacturing cost of that particular product. So the reason being, you want to penetrate a market that is already well established. Again, the perfect example for that in recent times would be your Jio mobile services, where they charge the minimal rate. So in order to attract customers, because even though many other mobile brands of service providers came in, they were not able to penetrate the market because no one was ready to be willing to change their mobile connections. They didn't want to change their number and so on and so forth. So they were able to find the product, the data package, because people started chatting more, people started using data more. So they focused on data and they reduced the price of data, and via which they were able to capture that particular market. The next one is economy pricing. Economy pricing is a no-frills pricing, where you price the product at a bare minimum. Because certain products, the brand image or brand value doesn't matter. Household items like rice, groceries, and so on and so forth, you tend to have more on the pricing strategy. You don't want to get a lower cost. You want to get the product at a lower cost. So here, when you use this particular strategy, your advertising is going to be minimal. You are going to use minimal advertising expenses, and you will be concentrating on the price more. And again, a perfect example would be your supermarkets like Big Bazaar, where they sell products at a value money. They offer huge discounts. They tend to bring the price low. They tend to keep the price low. The next one is price skimming. Skimming price is where you know that your product is going to sell, and you have an advantage because your product is unique. You are new into the market. Okay. A perfect example for these would be electronic products, electronic items, a TV. Sony brands especially price their products at a higher rate when they launch. Sony mobile phones or iPhones, any electronic items generally tend to have a higher price tag when they launch. But after they launch, what happens? The technology is imitated by someone else and they bring in a cheaper price. So they want to grab the first consumers' preference for being the first to use certain kind of a technology, be it OLED TV or some new camera technology in a mobile phone or whatever it is. So they try to capitalize on this particular human tendency or human emotion, and they price their products extremely high. An OLED TV will cost you 4 lakhs. A new phone will cost you 60,000 or 70,000 or 1 lakh. But the same product after a year, The same product after a year would be selling at half of its retail value. A 1 lakh phone would be selling at 60,000 or 50,000. A 4 lakh TV would be selling at 2 lakhs or 1.5 lakhs. Because this type of a pricing strategy is used. Psychological pricing is when you want to attract the consumer using his own mind. You try to attract the consumer. A perfect example would be your data pricing. All shoes and everything is priced at 1,099, means in the mind of the consumer it is just 1,000. We tend to just look into the one value. We don't tend to look it is as 2,000. A human mind reads it as 1,000 rather than 2,000. So even though it is 1 paise or 1 rupee different to attaining 2,000, we don't realize that. Our instant reaction would be it is 1,900 or 1,000. That is the first comfort level that gives the product for us to go and reach that particular product. And price, as we have seen earlier, tends to dictate the quality in the minds of the consumer. When a price is very low, we tend to think that that particular product is low. A same shoe, a same manufacturing facility which has manufacturing the same type of product can sell that particular product at a higher rate, because even though it is of the same quality, because of the brand image that is there. For example, let's say Adidas shoes. The same company will be manufacturing a different shoe and an Adidas shoe. But when a t-shirt, when the Adidas brand logo is there and the price is higher, what happens? We tend to think that it is of a higher quality. When perfumes, as I told you earlier, a 10 rupee perfume would not sell, but a 1,000 rupee perfume or even a 2,000 rupee perfume will sell better. Product line pricing is where you use a same product to cater to different mindsets of a consumer. A perfect example for that would be your cars. A product would be the same. A lower variant would have lesser amenities or lesser quality products or something like that, and a higher variant of the same product, a same car, would have better amenities in it. And this tends to differentiate the pricing. Even phones, a lower variant or a higher variant will be there in the same product line, where some features might be missing and some features might be added at a later price, and you determine the price accordingly. Optional pricing. This is another strategy where you price your product low at first, and then you try to convince the customer that you want add-ons, bonus. A budget airline would offer a seat at a lower rate first, then for selecting your seat it might offer a charge, selecting a window seat a higher charge, selecting a seat with more legroom an even higher charge, a meal and a higher charge. So what happens? When you keep on adding, the price difference between that product and a whole product would be more or less similar, but we tend to think that it is lower because of the initial pricing. Initially the ticket price may be 1,000 rupees, but when you put all these add-on, it might come higher to 2,000 or 3,000, whereas a regular fare would be the same. But in the mind of the consumer, it tends to be at lower rate. The next commonly used strategy is captive pricing strategy, where you price your initial product at a lower rate. Where a perfect example would be your shaving razors. A shaving razor alone would cost you, let's say, 200 rupees, but the refill razor would cost you around 500 rupees for a pack of 4 or so. Or your printer. A printer alone will cost you 2,000 rupees, but a cartridge for that printer will be costing 1,500 rupees. So this tends to increase the price because when you buy that core product, you tend to buy that product again and again. You tend to keep on buying the product again and again, and you are held captive by that particular company. Promotional pricing. This is where most consumers, especially Indian consumers, tend to buy a product free. We are attracted by what is free for us. Buy one get one free, buy one get two free. We tend to think that we get a better value. The consumer is tricked into believing that he gets a better value. This is the reason why most countries have regulations against such kind of a promotional activity. They tend to have promotional activities are banned because these they cannot sell beyond the marketing price or the maximum retail price. Okay. The reason being, we might think that we are getting a better value, but the core product itself would be of a lower cost. When you bundle it or when you say the free might not be really free. There is nothing called as a free lunch. The next one is geographical pricing. So, a perfect example would be our petrol prices, which is being discussed of late at a very frequent time. Even though petrol costs cheaper at different countries, here in India it costs higher. Why? Because of the local duties, shipping costs, so and so. So the same product is priced differently in different countries, different geographical locations. So even in India, even different states have different petrol prices because of the cess and taxes that are there involved in it. So this kind of geographical pricing. And in the same way, certain products tend to be premium in certain countries, whereas in certain other countries it might not be considered as a premium product. The thing is like, let's say for example, a Toyota Corolla car. A Toyota Corolla car in India is a premium offering. But whereas in the developed nations like United States or so, it is not a premium offering, it's a budget offering. Because there a premium offering means a BMW or a Rolls Royce. But here a premium offering is a Toyota Corolla itself. Next one is value pricing. This kind of pricing is widely used in your fast food chains, where you bundle the things and value offers. 99 for 99 you get a Coke, value meal offer, so and so. But when value doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to get a better value product or a better product. The simple reason being, certain things, for example, when you buy a certain product alone, the quantity of the product would be higher. Whereas in a combo offer or a value offer, what happens, the quantity of the product or the quality of the product tends to differ. So, not necessarily always value offer means a better value proposition. The next one is your premium pricing. So, this pricing is used by companies who want to capture the market in a more premium sense. Or, for example, would be your iPhone. iPhone has a premium image in India. So what happens when you price a product higher? People are ready to buy, even though the actual manufacturing cost of the product is less. Because of the brand image that you have for that particular product, you are able to price that particular product at a higher rate. And this maximizes the profit of that particular company or that particular product. And they are able to use it. Thank you.